Welcome to the complete story of Final Fantasy II, perhaps the least appreciated title in the entire mainline Final Fantasy series, both by virtue of belonging to the often overlooked first generation of Final Fantasy games, and for featuring some infamously divisive leveling mechanics. But what about the game's story? I'm Pétur from Birds of Play, and in this video I hope you'll join me as we revisit the complete story of Final Fantasy II. It's going to be a long way from here to hell and back, but I hope you'll be with us every step of the way. A long-lived peace is at an end. The Emperor of Palamitia has called forth monsters from the underworld and has begun his campaign for world conquest. A rebel army arose in the kingdom of Fynn to thwart the Emperor's plan, but the rebels' castle fell to an all-out assault by the Empire. Left with little choice, the rebels withdrew to the remote town of Altair. 4 youths from Fynn also found themselves fleeing the Imperial forces. They had lost their parents at the hands of the Empire, but their escape wasn't over. And as they flee from Imperial soldiers, they are cut down in cold blood. Firion, Maria, and Guy, 3 of the 4 youths, are rescued by forces belonging to the Wild Rose Rebellion, led by Princess Hilda, and taken to Altair to be revived. But Leon, the 4th and last member of the group, has gone missing. With nowhere else to go, as well as having reason enough to oppose the Empire, the 3 that remain ask to join the rebellion. But Hilda refuses their request due to their youth and inexperience, unwilling to put them in harm's way. Firion, Guy, and Maria return to Fynn, where they find Prince Scott on his deathbed. He tells the party of Count Borgen's betrayal and asks them to encourage his brother Gordon, who is afraid to join the rebels, to take action. Scott also confides in them his love for Hilda, but ultimately asks them not to tell her about his feelings, since the confession of a dead man would only burden her. Just before he dies, Scott offers unto them his ring to bring back with them as proof of their meeting. Having made the perilous journey and returned with Scott's ring, Hilda is finally convinced that Firion's group is strong enough to join the fight against the Empire and accepts the party's request to join the rebellion. She sends the group to Salamand in search of Mithril. Joseph, a member of the rebellion, had already been deployed on a mission to search for it, but he hasn't been heard from since. Hilda's right-hand man, Minwu, a white mage from the magical land of Mysidia, joins the party for this mission. The party finds Joseph, but he is unwilling to offer them any information, as the Palamitian Empire has kidnapped his daughter Nellie, and Borgen has threatened to kill her if Joseph helps the resistance. He tells them to go to Summit Falls and free her, along with the townspeople who have been enslaved in the mines. They do so, and in the process end up rescuing Paul, a thief and rebellion's employee. After defeating one of the Imperial sergeants, the party takes the Mithril and returns to Altair. After the weaponsmith Tobal uses the Mithril to craft equipment for the resistance, the party is dispatched to Bavsk, where the Empire has enslaved the residents and forced them to build a powerful airship known as the Dreadnought. The ship was built under the watchful eye of an Imperial known only as the Dark Knight, but he was replaced by Borgen after the loss of the Mithril. This complication gives the Resistance the opportunity to destroy the Dreadnought before it is even finished. However, just before the party reaches the massive airship from the Bavsk sewers, the Dark Knight, who has not left Bavsk after all, takes control of the airship and lifts off. The Dreadnought attacks the cities of Poft, Palum, Gatria, and Altair, but the secret base at Altair is unharmed. Upon returning to Altair, Minwu leaves the party to care for the ailing king of Fynn. After talking to Sid, owner of the world's other airship, Hilda and the party decide to obtain Sunfire from the Kashuan Keep in order to destroy the Dreadnought. To enter, they need either the goddess's spell or the voice of a Kashuan. Joseph helps the party reach the snow cave with a snow craft, and the party retrieves the goddess Bel, located within. On the way out, Borgen attacks the party, and although he is swiftly defeated, he is able to activate his booby trap, sending a massive boulder rolling in their direction. Joseph holds the boulder back to allow the party time to escape, but Joseph himself ultimately gets crushed under its weight. With heavy hearts, but a renewed determination to avenge Joseph, the party heads for the abandoned kingdom of Kashuan to retrieve the Sunfire. They enter the keep and find Gordon finally taking action, although he has been unable to make it past the monsters inside by himself. He joins the party and helps them locate Egil's torch, the only vessel they can use to carry the Sunfire. The party defeats a red soul for the torch and retrieves the Sunfire. As they leave, they witness Sid's airship being captured by the Dreadnought, which lands to replenish fuel supplies in the far south. The party heads there, frees Sid and Hilda, who was on board Sid's airship, and throws the Sunfire into the Dreadnought's engine, as directed by Sid. They meet the Dark Knight in the engine room, and Maria recognizes his voice. However, before they can discuss it further, they are forced to make their escape, just before the airship is destroyed. The party returns triumphantly to Altair, only to learn the king is about to die. With his last breaths, he plans a three-pronged attack on the Empire to take back Finn. In his plan, Minwu heads to Mysidia to retrieve Ultima, the ultimate magic tome. Gordon takes command of the rebel army to attack Finn directly, and Firion's party heads to the island nation of Deist to enlist the aid of the Dragoons. Meanwhile, Hilda started to behave strangely and retires to her chambers. The party accepts passage from a girl named Layla, who reveals that she is a pirate captain and tries to mug the party. When they defeat her and her crew, he is impressed and decides to join them. They reach Deist, but find the Dragoons fallen in battle and only a single wyvern remaining. As the mighty beast lays dying, poisoned by the Empire, it entrusts the party with the last wyvern egg, which the party drops in the healing spring at the bottom of Deist Cavern to incubate it and hasten its growth process. The party returns to Altair empty-handed, and Firion learns that the Hilda they rescued is in fact a Lamia queen in disguise. The real Hilda is being held as a prize in a tournament at the Palametian Colosseum. The party, with Gordon in tow, makes haste to reach Hilda, defeating a behemoth at the Colosseum to earn her as a prize. But Emperor Matthias, who is overseeing the match, has them thrown in the dungeons. There they are saved by Paul, who unlocks their cell. Hilda and Gordon escape on their own, while the rest of the party draws the guards' attention before following suit. The rebel army plans an attack on Finn, and encamps outside the town. Firion, Maria, Guy, and Layla lead the attack and defeat the Imperial Castellan Gotos, earning the rebels an important victory. Minwu and the Ultima Tome are nowhere to be found, so Hilda instructs the party to look for him and retrieve the tome from the Mysidian Tower. After obtaining the crystal rod from the trials on the tropical islands, the party heads for the tower, only to be swallowed by the Leviathan, a monster that guards the seaway approach to the tower. Shipwrecked and separated from Layla, the party works its way from Leviathan's innards to the mouth, where, with the help of Ricard Highwind the Dragoon, they retake the ship by defeating a roundworm. They head for the tower with Ricard, where they best the Fire Gigas, Ice Gigas, and Thunder Gigas, and find Minwu at the Chamber of the Seal. He has been waiting for Firion's group to arrive, and once they are there, he uses his life force to break the seal, costing him his life. The party takes Ultima and returns to Finn, but discovers the towns of Altair, Gatria, Palum, and Poft have been destroyed by a mysterious force known as the Cyclone. A terrible force which threatens to tear the world asunder if the party cannot figure out how to stop it. Hilda explains a pendant can be used to call wyverns in the chamber at the top of the castle, and Paul gives them the item. The pendant calls the young wyvern that was hatched at Deist, which allows them to fly into the heart of the cyclone. They infiltrate the fortress inside the storm and defeat Emperor Matthias. A victory celebration is held at Finn, but it is interrupted by the news that the Dark Knight is Maria's long-lost brother Leon, who has crowned himself emperor. Sid, dying after the attack on Palum, gives the party his airship, and they fly to Palamitia. Leon refuses Maria's pleas and prepares to battle, but the emperor returns from hell, now more powerful than ever, and reveals he intends to bring hell to Earth, no longer caring about ruling Palamitia. Ricard sacrifices himself in battle against the Emperor so that the others can escape on the Wyvern. After Ricard's death, the Dark Emperor razes Castle Pandemonium, the fortress of the Lord of Hell, to start a new empire. Leon joins the party at Firion's behest, and they set out to prepare for the final battle. After returning to Dice to earn the Excalibur, the treasured sword of the Dragoons, the party fights through the Jade Passage, entering Pandemonium from underground, as other forms of approach are impossible. As they finally make their way to the Emperor, a fierce battle ensues as the Emperor attempts to destroy the last hope of the Resistance. Despite his powerful spells and his ability to call down meteors, Firion and the others defeat him for good. They return to Castle Finn, where Hilda, Gordon, Nellie, Layla and Paul wait to congratulate the party on its victory. Life begins anew for everyone, but Leon takes his leave, feeling that too much has happened between them for him to stay. Maria protests, but Firion says they will be waiting when Leon is ready to return. Their long struggle was finally at an end. The Emperor, Pandemonium, the monsters plaguing the world, all had vanished without a trace. Peace had returned once more. The wounds of war would mend, and the memory of those bitter days would fade. But one thing would never be forgotten: that a band of young heroes once saved the world. And so ends the story of Final Fantasy II. Thanks for watching. I hope you liked the video, and that you maybe even have a deeper appreciation for Final Fantasy II than you did before. Who knows? What I do know is that we have a bunch of these videos on the channel, so don't hesitate to look around in order to relive your favorite Final Fantasy games. But until next time, caca! We're all made of meat, you and me.